too. During the heat of the game, it's clear he's a champ when all else disappears. Rally the team with a wink and a cheer. He's the leader that everyone fears. Quickly, it's a real heater. What's my friend? He's a locker room leader. In the chaos, he's the center, turning us into believers.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is Monday night. It is 7 p.m. That means it is time for the Turnbuckle Affiliation Program and Turnbuckle Studios to bring you the Locker Room Breakdown. I am OM Dynamic. Thank you once again for joining me here for a comprehensive recap of last week and a preview of what is to come here tonight on Raw. Raw was intense last week. We are now under 3 weeks from WrestleMania. And ladies and gentlemen, are the lines getting blurred? Is everything now straight ahead, or do we still have some bumps in the road? I think we're more on that straight ahead path to Mania now. Maybe a slight detour, but we will find out more tonight when we get to the preview section. But let's start with last week. And we open things. We open things with Paul Heyman and Brock Lesnar. This was intense. The crowd chanting Oba, Oba, for Obafemi, of course. While Paul Heyman said, Brock Lesnar went through 20 people, was distracted by Seth Rollins, allowing an overhyped sensation to get one up. Ladies and gentlemen, this was intense. He called out the WWE hype machine, but Paul Heyman is a massive part of the WWE hype machine for whatever client, whether it's Brock Lesnar, whether it was Roman Reigns, whether it was CM Punk, now currently the injured Braun Breaker and the injured Bronson Reed. I don't see him doing so much, though, for his latest charges of the Vision in Logan Paul and Austin Theory. He did reference, of course, The Undertaker's streak. He referenced, his career against Bobby Lashley, AJ Styles, John Cena, calling Obafemi's moment of putting his foot on Brock's chest and pointing to the WrestleMania sign as Oba's WrestleMania moment. Once again, we get the presence of Obafemi. This was huge. Brock initiated contact in this situation, tried to get physical, got Oba up into position for the F5, but Oba, of course, slid out of it and then managed to clothesline Brock over the top rope. And the look on Brock's face as he was leaned up against the barricade showed uncertainty and fear. I'm not sure. Good evening, Dougie. Good evening, Dougie Games coming in. When I can get onto Twitch, we'll get Turnbuckle Studios to follow you back. Absolutely. Thank you. I will put that out there to the people in charge of our Twitch account. Lesnar smiled then, though, as he went back up the ramp and Oba posed in the ring. We also were then shown a video package of Dirty Dom and laying the blame on Finn Balor, we knew that Dom was going to challenge Penta later in the night for the Intercontinental Championship in Dom's rematch. But up next, we had a non-title match between the Usos and the Vision, Austin Theory, and Logan Paul. This was hard-hitting. A lot of history, a lot of intensity in this match. This was driven. Of course, Theory and the Vision took advantage early. They did the tag team work, cutting off half the ring, keeping the Usos isolated. Eventually, Jay does hit a spear on Austin Theory. I do apologize, ladies and gentlemen. I am trying to go back and relive Raw as it happened last week with my reports. That, of course, was broken up. Logan Paul tried to slide the Knucks into Theory. LA Knight comes out, costing the Vision, slides the brass knucks to Jay. And while the ref, in front of the ref, Jay proceeds to knock out Austin Theory, causing a disqualification, giving the Vision the win, and letting the Usos retain the championships. As the Usos were going back up, Jay Uso ran back into the ring and then proceeded to lay out Logan Paul. We are going to take no, we're not. Actually, it's a little too early for that. We then got a promotional video from the previous week. Okay, I just lost my train of thought as I was informed I didn't have a background, and I apologize for that, ladies and gentlemen. We got a preview or a review of what happened the previous week with Roman Reigns calling Punk old and Punk popping him in the face. We found out that we were going to get CM Punk and Roman Reigns in another face-to-face later in the night. We then saw Becky Lynch backstage, and we were about to hear from her as it related to her Women's Intercontinental Championship loss to AJ Lee. So when Becky comes out to the ring, she, of course, continues to berate the fans. And, you know, why are you booing me when AJ took a decade off, much like her husband, CM Punk? Lynch took 10 months off, and she did it because people got sick of seeing her succeed, when we all know it was because she, of course, had gone and had her baby, and of course injuries. So I can understand her frustration in this situation. But then she brought up the fact that her little daughter would start skipping around, and then said that Becky and Seth's daughter had said AJ Lee was her favorite wrestler. Becky said she had made that Women's Intercontinental Championship the most important. I strongly disagree with that statement. I personally believe that Becky used that as a prop. That's my opinion. I think it was more of an aesthetic and a set piece to Becky than it was doing anything to further her career. But eventually, AJ Lee did come out, and Becky was standing there calling her out. Becky jumped out of the ring as AJ jumped in the ring. And AJ said, well, now, not only am I your favorite wrestler's favorite wrestler, but it appears I'm your daughter's favorite wrestler as well. However, AJ then said, if you want to do this one-on-one at WrestleMania, I am more than game. And Becky said, well, yes, you've just fallen right into exactly my trap and my plan. So yes, we will go one-on-one at WrestleMania. Backstage, we see the Usos walking backstage with LA Knight. LA Knight tells Jay that he is starting to act like Roman. Jimmy has to calm Jay down and tells Knight to keep his words carefully, speaking about their family. But we also see Javon Evans, who is getting ready to go one-on-one with Grayson Waller. We will cover that match in just a moment, ladies and gentlemen. But right now, I want you to take a look as to how you can help us.
A Turnbuckle affiliation program is looking for more people. If you have passion level for pro wrestling, sports, video games, or something else, then Turnbuckle Studios is the place to be. If you have ever wanted to pursue content creation and want to join our team, then we would love to have you. Check out turnbucklestudios.org or contact us by email today because your future is now, and we want you to tap in.
And ladies and gentlemen, if you have ever wanted your break in podcasting, content creation, a potential collaboration, or just to help us out behind the scenes, turnbucklestudios.org is the home of the Turnbuckle Affiliation Program. Hit the join button, send us your credentials, tell us how you believe you can help us, how you feel we can help you, and we can sit down as a collective and figure out the right fit. All of this and so much more, turnbucklestudios.org. So up next, we get Grayson Waller with Kofi in his corner against Javon Evans. This match excited me, and not because of Javon Evans' high-flying abilities. This excited me because we were getting Grayson Waller in action for the first time in a long time. And Monday Night Raw really needed the Grayson Waller rub and the Grayson Waller effect. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, I said it. Raw needed it. And it's about time we got it. Although this match was good, and it was a good, solid match between two young up-and-comers, it was just a case of Javon's speed. He really needs to learn how to slow it down and pace himself. He needs to learn pace. Otherwise, he's going to hurt himself or hurt somebody else. And not intentionally. I'm not going to go out there and say that he is unsafe to work with, because I don't believe that. But he needs to learn how to pace himself. Javon Evans did pick up the win after the OG cutter. Ladies and gentlemen, I know this is something that has bugged me for a long time. Too many people are using the cutter now, and it's across wrestling, period. Once Randy Orton turned it into the RKO, now all of a sudden you've got Cody has the Cody cutter, Will Ospreay with the Oz cutter, Javon Evans with the OG cutter. And guess what? The Cody cutter, the OG cutter, the Oz cutter, they're all the same. Off the second or top rope into a cutter. It's getting to be too much. It's an overdone move, and it's going to really, really lose its effect. It's the same thing, ladies and gentlemen. We've gotten upset over the super kick, where everybody has the super kick. Now just about everybody has a dang cutter. Can we please reduce the use of a cutter? Not everybody needs one. I could even argue the same thing about the sling blade, though we don't see it anywhere near as much anymore, primarily just with Finn Balor. Javon Evans pulled out this win, which really doesn't surprise me, but it does bug me because we needed Grayson Waller in the ring, and I needed Grayson Waller to win to help build some momentum for himself. Let's get him back into the ring on a regular basis and into the Intercontinental Championship picture. Please. Backstage again, we see Paul Heyman come up to Adam Pearce. And Pearce wants another tag team title match scheduled, with the Usos defending their World Tag Team Championships tonight. And we will get to that in just a little bit. Against the Vision in a street fight. Adam Pearce tells Paul Heyman, "You've given me something to consider." Heyman was about to go off the deep end, but regained his composure. And then Pearce tells him to go to the ring because he had asked for time. And he was given his time right then and there. So, Paul Heyman goes out to the ring to address Seth Rollins and Seth Rollins' issues with him. As a manager, as an advocate, as the oracle, as the wise man, whatever you want to call it. Paul Heyman went out there and very, very somber said, "I'm upset. I'm PO'd because things haven't gone well. Logan Paul and Austin Theory are both half conscious in the trainer's room. I don't have Braun Breaker or Bronson Reed here. And I need to address Seth Rollins. I'm 60 years old, but I am a man, and a man has to do what a man has to do." So we saw Seth Rollins come out, stand on the announce table, peel off the mask, and Paul Heyman has 4 police officers, security guards, come and stand in front of him while he continues to berate Seth Rollins, saying, "You know what? As a man, I did what I have to do. And Heyman, as he was saying this, said, "You know, I am also a lawyer. And men in my family, we do what we have to do. We're snitches. We file restraining orders and lawsuits. And Seth, you violated the restraining order. And as a criminal, you'll be divorced by your wife and married off to half of the locker room. And your daughter will be put with protective services. Little bit over the top for my liking. I don't really want to hear things like that in my wrestling. And I know it's part of the show. But when you're starting to drag family into it, and especially little ones, it's not for me. I thought that was in poor taste. Rollins then escaped the police, ran down to the ring. Heyman threw the mic at him, but Rollins got up and got the forearms into his face. And then the police dragged Rollins away while Paul Heyman smiled. Ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about the women. It's about time we got our first women's match of the night. And ladies and gentlemen, the 4 women involved in this match tore the house down. It was the Kabuki Warriors, Asuka and Kairi Sane, versus the team of Bayley and Lyra Valkyria, with a chance to challenge for the women's tag team championships? Well, this match was everything you would expect and more. The technical precision of Lyra Valkyria, the experience of Bayley and Asuka, the excitement, the high flying of Io Sky. This match had it all, ladies and gentlemen. These 4 women, it was back and forth, hold for hold, escape for escape, pin for pin. One of the best women's matches I have seen in a long, long time. Eventually, though, we did see Bayley and Lyra win. And I am all for it because we needed to know more about Bayley and Lyra's road to WrestleMania. And things got made a little bit clearer. And we will go back to that here again in just a little bit, because Jackie Redmond got into the ring afterwards and interviewed Bayley and Lyra, of course, congratulating them for beating the Kabuki Warriors and asking about their pressure to get to WrestleMania. They, of course, addressed a promo from Friday night where the Irresistible Forces, Nia Jackson, Lash Legend, addressed Bayley and Lyra, saying, you know, you've had our names in your mouths. And they asked for tonight in the world's most famous arena in Madison Square Garden. The crowd was booing, and Bayley asked for cheers, and the crowd went nuts. Then we see Penta backstage warming up, teaching then celebrity IShowSpeed, who was there, his strut, and Dragon Lee walks up and greets him and thanked him for the match the previous week. We also then see Adam Pearce with IShowSpeed, and that gets interrupted by Danhausen. Yes, you are cursed. And Danhausen wants the password to IShowSpeed's account to create a show called IShowSpeedhausen. Danhausen, of course, did reference IShowSpeed's followers, although he got the number drastically wrong, saying it was 800 as opposed to 800 million. We then again see more turmoil in the backstage between the Kabuki Warriors as Asuka berates Kairi Sane over the loss. And you can just see Kairi becoming more and more timid and afraid of Asuka. And we see Io Sky come up and get herself involved again. Ladies and gentlemen, it was that situation with Io Sky that led to them kicking Io out and the recreation of the Kabuki Warriors. I do not want to keep revisiting this. WWE Creative, please do better. Stop revisiting past angles from a year ago. It's not necessarily needed. After Kairi walks off, we get a confrontation as Raquel Rodriguez walks up to Io Sky and tears into her. And Sky tells her, I'll interfere again if I get the chance. And Rodriguez issues a challenge once again for tonight. And Io accepts. And then we move on to our main event. Yes, we move on to our main event of Penta defending the Intercontinental Championship against Dirty Dom Mysterio. Liv was coming out with Dom to the ring. And Stephanie Vicaire comes out, gets involved in the intro, and attacks Liv Morgan. Dom and security are trying to break it up. And Dom eats a shot from Stephanie. So you're left wondering, okay, are we going to get this match or not? And we go back into the gorilla, and you can see Dom there again, making sure Liv is okay. And once again, his music plays, and he is accompanied to the ring now by Judgment Day member J.D. McDonough. So, does Penta have any backup for this match if needed? But before the ring introductions even get underway, Dom attacks Penta, jumping him. Ref backs him up, rings the bell, and Dom in again. And this, ladies and gentlemen, again, we have seen Dom and Penta go back and forth time and again, and it's a match that I just cannot get tired of. We saw counters for counters again, pinfall for pinfall. Ladies and gentlemen, this match was a fantastic choice for the main event. But as he hits the 619 and goes to the top rope for his frog splash, Finn Balor's music hits to distract Dom. But ladies and gentlemen, this is what I don't get, is why is it that every time somebody's up there and somebody's music hits, they don't just follow through on the move? They allow that distraction when they have more than enough time. JD ran up the ramp to try and attack Finn Balor. That once again created more of a distraction. Finn took JD, ran him back up the entrance ramp, and threw him into the LED board at the Tron. Penta then went for his frog splash, allowing Penta to get the knees up and an inside cradle, and Penta picks up the win. Balor then gets in the ring and swings away at Mysterio, hits the sling blade, hits his shotgun drop kick, and heads to the top rope for his coup de grace. But JD recovers, comes back down, and pulls Dom to safety. Dom then does his what is it called here? Somersault senton. As Mysterio escapes, JD gets thrown in the ring and eats the stiffest coup de grace he has ever eaten in that matchup, or in that teacher-student mentality. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to move on to the preview for tonight, but I need you to check out everything for you here each and every night of the week at Turnbuckle Studios.
Turnbuckle Studios and the Turnbuckle Affiliation Program bring you the week of streams. All times are in Eastern Time. Monday nights you get the Locker Room Breakdown at 7 p.m., followed by the Raw Patrol at 8 p.m. Tuesday brings you the flagship show, Turnbuckle Talk, at 8:05 p.m. Wednesday we play games with the PlayStation Showcase at 8 p.m. Thursday we go TNA as we brace for Impact at 9 p.m. On Fridays, join us for the SmackDown Security Detail at 8 p.m. The weekend brings you Saturday Night Gaming at 8 p.m. On Sunday, be sure to catch the Chris Parrish podcast at 12:15 p.m. And later that night, we have the Borstnest at 8 p.m. Be part of the shows and join the chat every day. And please visit turnbucklestudios.org.
And ladies and gentlemen, turnbucklestudios.org is your home for the Turnbuckle Affiliation Program. There is something for you each and every night of the week. There is going to be some programming shuffling going on towards the end of April, including this show. But stay tuned to the calendar. Once we get everything sorted here, we will inform you. But we want you to meet the team and meet the hosts of those shows at the host section. Myself, Chris Best, Bubba Duke, Chris Parrish, Carl Carafel, and our newest member. However, you can also get our socials and watch our latest weekly live episodic shows just by clicking on each individual host. All of that and so much more, turnbucklestudios.org. Tonight, ladies and gentlemen, MSG, Madison Square Garden, New York City, Times Square, the Mecca of wrestling and sports entertainment, is the home of Raw. And tonight, ladies and gentlemen, is absolutely huge. Three title matches tonight. And we are going to get I'm going to start off with what I believe is going to be our main event. We have a World Tag Team Championship. I apologize. We have a World Tag Team Championship street fight. The Usos and the Vision. Knowing what Jay did last week, is this a situation where Paul Heyman bit off more than he could chew for the Vision? Is this justified for the Vision to try and get revenge and it reintroduced those brass knuckles to take out the Usos. Let's not forget, the Usos have gotten somewhat involved as well in the Roman Reigns CM Punk ongoing feud leading to WrestleMania. LA Knight has told the Usos, if this is the bloodline, then we're not on the same page, and we can't be. And his comments last week as well. There are a lot of combustible elements in this situation. And as well, ladies and gentlemen, you have to factor in the Mystery Men and Seth Rollins. Do they play a factor in this? There are so many moving parts and combustible elements to this match. But ladies and gentlemen, I am going to say this. Your winners and new World Tag Team Champions, Logan Paul and Austin Theory, the Vision, tonight. I'm calling it. I'm taking the Vision because of all of those combustible elements and the numbers games. I do believe that it is time. And then it maybe gets a little bit more power and stroke back to the Vision, who are without, of course, their two big men. We have a women's tag team championship match between the Irresistible Forces, Nia Jackson, Lash Legend, versus Bayley and Lyra. We saw this past Friday. Bayley and Lyra showed up on SmackDown for the Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss versus the Bellas matchup that had the Irresistible Forces at ringside, which devolved into pure chaos and anarchy. The question is, ladies and gentlemen, does the same thing happen here? And I have to say yes. I believe that we are going to see Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss. I have a feeling we may well see the Bellas. We could see the Kabuki Warriors. This is perhaps the most combustible match of the night, leading to something for WrestleMania as far as a multi-woman tag team match goes. I, like our friend Chris Parrish, would love to say, yes, it's going to be a multi-team ladder match. I just don't know. Mr. Parrish coming in saying Nikki did hurt her ankle and the severity is unknown. Yes, we know she was injured. We will have to wait and find out. And hopefully we will have a little bit more on that tomorrow night at 8:05 p.m. Eastern on Turnbuckle Talk. We also have an Intercontinental Championship Open Challenge, as Penta will defend the Intercontinental Championship against a mystery opponent. Speculation is pointing to Kofi Kingston because he stepped up on social media, said he would take it. But we also know that coming up, I believe this coming Saturday at AAA, Penta is going to defend that Intercontinental Championship against El Hijo del Vikingo. Does that add to Penta's road to WrestleMania? Do we go to Penta and Vikingo or Penta in a multi-man match for the Intercontinental Championship at WrestleMania? I don't know, but I am intrigued to see who does step up. We know that those US Open challenges on SmackDown usually are the match of the night. Does that become the situation here tonight? I don't know, ladies and gentlemen. We just have to wait and see. We are also going to see in a grudge match, and a match I'm looking extremely forward to. This was the match I wanted for WrestleMania. Io Sky and Raquel Rodriguez. During the women's #1 Intercontinental Championship gauntlet a couple of weeks ago, Raquel got pinned by Io Sky and then completely laid her out, allowing Ivy Nile to come in, pick up the win, and eliminate Io. Last week, 2 weeks ago, we saw Io come down and get involved, costing Raquel a match. We saw the confrontation last week in the backstage area. This is going to be off the wall. This is going to be insane. From reports that I am seeing today, ladies and gentlemen, this has come across my desk a little bit earlier. We can apparently anticipate Roxanne Perez tonight on Raw. I don't know. I don't have the confirmation yet, but that is what I am hearing. And I am thrilled. I want to see Roxanne Perez back. If Roxanne Perez comes back, does this put Roxanne and Raquel back into the Women's Tag Team Championship picture as well? There are so many moving parts here, ladies and gentlemen. As well, we are going to hear from Finn Balor over his excommunication from the Judgment Day. Do we get that WrestleMania challenge? I would have to think so. Once again, Roman Reigns and CM Punk under one roof. Does this lead to Roman Reigns being laid out tonight, much the way, and I'll say it, the Bloodline did last week to CM Punk to close the show? Brock Lesnar in the building tonight as well, ladies and gentlemen, and he's going to address, of course, Obafemi. Is this with Paul Heyman, or is this Brock on his own? I really hope, ladies and gentlemen, I want Brock on his own for this. I don't want Paul Heyman involved. Paul Heyman has too many other things going on. Speaking of those other things, ladies and gentlemen, that is Seth Rollins, who may or may not be at Raw tonight given his arrest last week. We will have to wait and see. Coming up in about 15 minutes on the Turnbuckle Studios YouTube page with the Raw Patrol, featuring myself, Chris Best, Chris Parrish, Bubba Duke, and others. Ladies and gentlemen, before we head out of here, I do want you to check out our shop.
The Turnbuckle Studios store is open for you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Get the merch and represent the best from the shows you watch on a weekly basis. Multiple styles to choose from with over 10 products available. Don't get left out and pick up all your favorites today. Find us at turnbucklestudios.org.
And ladies and gentlemen, once again, turnbucklestudios.org is your home for the Turnbuckle Affiliation Program, and we want you to check out our shop. Support your favorite shows and your favorite podcasters. Wear what we wear, and all of those proceeds come back into our studio to bring you a better experience. As I head out of here, ladies and gentlemen, and get ready for the Raw Patrol, I would like to remind you all that the world is better with you in it. From all of us here at Turnbuckle Studios and the Turnbuckle Affiliation Program, to those of you out there wherever you are, good night, good luck, we out.
In the locker room, a guy you'll find loves bad hockey, teams can't deny. His best friend to shut the hand so true, loyal until his friend goes number 2. During the heat of the game, it's clear he's He's a champ when all else disappears. Rally the team with a wink and a cheer.